Hello. You're welcome to Agri-Connect once again. Today, I have for you a very interesting discussion that I know you wouldn't want to miss. Stay with us as we bring on our special guest who is going to take us to aubergine and garden eggs farming right here in Ghana. My name is Nana Ismail Basam. Do stay tuned. Let's get straight into the discussion. I can see that you have a lot of vegetables on your field, but we'll start with aubergine and garden eggs. Okay, I know that they are very similar, but yet very different.
Sure.
Realize that even the leaves and the plants are quite different. Okay, so now let's start with it. What are some of the conditions for growing these two, the differences in conditions?
So for aubergine and garden eggs, usually the condition doesn't vary because they belong to the same family and they have the same growth attributes.
Okay.
So they all require the same conditions for growth.
Okay.
So there's no variability when it comes to conditions.
Oh, okay. Now let's start with the soil. What type of soil do they thrive in?
Yes, so usually for here we deal with sandy loam soil. So any soil that is more sandy loam, or let's say it doesn't want much clay soil because when the water content becomes too much, it encourages rotting of the plants. And then sometimes when you get a place which is a little sandy, for that one you can grow it there, but because of easily drainage of water, you may have to introduce more water or incorporate more manure so that you can retain the moisture in the soil. So if you have those things in place, you can grow them in sandy soil as well.
Okay, all right. So you realize that like most agricultural ventures, products are bounded by seasonalities. You realize that sometimes what you can grow in this season might not be able to thrive in another season. So what are the seasonalities for growing these two vegetables?
I think usually when these questions are put, I will say vegetables are not seasonal. It is because of our rainfall patterns. That is why usually we have seasonal production. If you check people who are doing these greenhouses, they do January to December. So in the open field, if you have good water connection system, well improved soil with well infrastructure system in this farm, you can go January to December without any limitation. And it is good to invest. So if you invest in these systems, you are going to make your money. So I think it shouldn't be seasonal, or I wouldn't say it is seasonal. Anytime you have water and you have good agronomic practices on the farm, you can do January to December.
All right. So now you've brought us back to another factor. You said good agronomic practices. So what are some of the best agronomic practices that you have to employ in your farm?
Yes, so quality.
Okay, let's walk through.
Yes, so quality seed is always important.
Okay.
Number 2, you check good soil. You test your soil. Number 3, clearing your soil. Especially before you even start, you look at your nursery management. Especially you nurse your seeds well, either in nursery trays or on nursery beds. And then you transplant at the right time. You don't let the seeds overgrow at the nursery.
Okay, so when you say the right time, what is the right time?
Yes, so maximum from week 3 to week 6. Your seedling should be out of the nursery bed. Yes, so with that, you minimize the transplanting shock. But when it goes beyond that, the crop had to go through a lot of stress to acclimatize to the systems on the field. So when you transplant them earlier, they are able to withstand the conditions and then they pick up and go faster. Yes, but usually it will be best to even go for the seed trays or the nursery tray. For that one, usually the roots are bounded in the system, and then when you are picking, you don't disturb the seedlings much. So when you transplant those one, your rate of acclimatization is very good compared to the ones that are done on the soil.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So let's look at how long it takes for these to get ready for table.
Usually from nursery to harvest is about 3 months.
Oh, okay. That's fast.
It may seem fast to you, but your farmers in your crank 2 weeks.
Yes. Okay. Let's look at some of the diseases that affect this. Oh, okay.
For diseases, especially when you pick the Solanaceae family, generally in central region or in Cape Coast,
Okay.
especially where I find myself, the UCC Teaching and Research Farm. We have this problem of sclerotium rot and then fusarium rot. This has been one of the biggest challenge in Cape Coast when it comes to garden eggs, aubergine, tomatoes, bell peppers, hot peppers. So because of these conditions, usually you will see that the crop will be standing and then they will be wilting.
Oh, okay.
Then off it dies. So those are some of the symptoms. But usually the local varieties are somehow resistant than the hybrid. So, but there are some hybrid too that are very resistant, but the prices are
very
higher
high.
because farmers, it is good to invest in quality. So if you can go in for the higher prices and then you get your yield, it is perfect. But if you won't get that one, it's better to consider the local one, which is more resistant. Sure.
Okay. So
and then we also have that of the spider mite.
Spider mite.
Yes, which also affects the plant a lot. For that one, you realize it on the leaves, especially you see the leaves having something like this.
Oh, okay.
So with that, if you don't take care, it will even fruit at all. You won't get anything from the crop, and that leads to total 100% loss.
Oh, wow.
So these are some of the problems. We have other aphids, white flies that also comes on board. So, but for here, we usually deal with biopesticides and then organic-based pesticides. So with neem oil, bipels, and then mahogany extracts.
Okay, you're able to combat this.
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right. Now let's look at the spacing. Looking at how the leaves spread, and I can tell that there are some spaces in between. What are the spacing to consider?
Yes, so I usually, because the recommended planting spaces, some are using 1 meter by 80 centimeters.
Okay.
But I do 80 by 60 centimeters.
Why?
My reason is that I want to suppress the rate of weed growth. So when the plant canopy covers earlier, you're able to suppress the rate of weed growth because you impede the sunlight penetration directly into the soil. Therefore, it reduces the rate of weed growth in the field. That's why I prefer to narrow the spacing so that I will minimize my cost of production. That's weeding and etc.
Okay. Now let's look at so let's say if one garden eggplant grows to this stage, how many times can you harvest before you have to change it?
Garden egg can be on the field for 1 year.
Oh, 1 year.
Because it's a biennial crop. So 1 season or more, depending on the care you give it, and then the, like I mentioned, your agronomic practices and everything. Yes. Okay. So you can be on the field for 1 year and above.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now let's look at some of the advantages of being in this field. You have been in this for quite some time. So what are some of the benefits you've encountered or reaped out so far?
The benefit I've reaped is I've learned from the practice that I am back on. There are so much I've learned, and combining classroom and then the field, you realize that sometimes the things in the classroom doesn't really reflect when you get to the field. So through practicing, I've really learned so many things when it comes to crop management, when it comes to disease management, soil management, and then even marketing. Yes, I've learned how to market my products as well. So those are some of the things that I have learned on the job.
Okay, all right. Yes. Now you brought me to my next stage. Okay, so marketing. A lot of people before venturing into any agricultural field think of how do I get the market? There are already people in it. People are already supplying it. So how did you get your market, and how have you now navigated the market to ensure that your products are always gone the moment they are harvested?
Yes, so there has always been this analogy that before you start your production, you should look for your market before you start. But in reality, it doesn't work in our part of the world, in quotes. Because for me, I began this one when I was in level 300. We started this as an association project back then. So we came to the farm and they gave us the land. So we realized that the university farm was not able to supply to the customers that comes around because the demand was more than the supply. So we went to see the manager and engaged on the discussion with him. and they give us a piece of land to start. So in the course of the production, we realize that there are some vegetables that are being demanded, but it is not grown here. So we decided to introduce some of them, especially beetroot, parsley, and etc. We introduced them, and we realized it was picking up. So when our vegetable was in excess, we decided to look for other alternative market by going to some of the five-star hotels around, the restaurants around, and then we began supplying to them. So as time went on, the market women also started coming. So we supply to the University Teaching and Research Farm for sales, and then we also supply to market women, we supply to individual customers, and then we supply to the hotels.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
marketing is never a problem for us.
Because people always eat.
You eat.
So
when COVID came, everybody was rushing for food, not
for clothes.
No, not for cars, not for any other thing. Yes.
All right. Now let's look at the profitability. How profitable is this venture?
Yes, anything you do and do it well is profitable. So I always say that agriculture is the only business that you can invest 100 cedis and make 300 cedis. You can invest 1,000 cedis and make 3,000 cedis. If you do and do it well, your profit is more than 200% when you do and do it well. By practicing, selecting the right seed, right soil, right fertilizer, and then harvesting at the right time. Yes.
Okay. All right. So now let's look at some of the challenges you've encountered on this journey.
The challenge had to do with land.
Okay.
Because we are working on university and research land, and sometimes because you are not the only one, the other student that also comes on board, and there is research activity that is going on. So sometimes they need to give the land away for research purposes when the need arises. And sometimes there are other students who also want to learn. So when they come on board, they need to also give them some land to learn. So you wouldn't necessarily get the size of land that you require. Yes, that is the biggest challenge that we're facing here. But at the moment, we are trying to expand. We have rented an acre somewhere that we are working on to as well. But our hope is to win off completely from here in the near future.
Yes. Okay, all right. So now let's say there are individuals who also want to start agricultural ventures but have no idea, agribusiness, they want to venture.
Sure.
But have no idea how to even go about it. What is the final word you have for such individuals?
Yeah, so I always say nobody was born with cutlasses and hoes in the hand, and nobody was born a farmer. We learn on everything that you want to achieve. So if you really want to do agriculture, you can go to School of Agriculture, University of Cape Coast, and there are other universities in Ghana that are doing agriculture. You can go to them, and then there are individual farmers or firms that are operating in the agricultural sector. You can also get close to them and learn something from them. And also there are other students that have also read agriculture. You can get close to them and then learn. And then don't forget your MUFA directorates in your district. Every district has a MUFA office. So you can also get closer to the MUFA unit, and then you ask them, they will also teach you. So whenever you come to me, my doors are open. I can teach you, but not for free.
Of course. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
As we've just heard, no one was born with cutlasses and hoes in their hands. As such, you can always pick up an agribusiness. There are so many channels along the value chain that you can venture into. My name is Nana Ismail Basam, and this has been Agri-Connect. Do stay tuned for more episodes.